Welcome everyone, here's another unboxing review of the new Akedo Ultimate Battle Arena. Now these are fun little new releases that just came out from the Moose Toy Company, which is based in Australia, which I found out about 15 years ago when they came out with a new line of Battleground, which was basically crossbows and catapults, something that I've been using for many, many years and have kind of brought up to another level in what I call serious wargaming, where you're actually using projectiles and everything else in a much more sophisticated way than the original crossbows and catapults. But they came up with their own version of this, and unfortunately it didn't last very long, and I'm trying to find out why. And that was many years ago. Apparently it just didn't sell that well. I'm not sure. Now, the Moose Company is an interesting company, which I'll be doing a little lecture on in the future. Of what they're doing, but I've done some research into toy companies, and most people who are not interested in that area don't give toys much credit. And there's talk that kids don't buy toys anymore. Well, I'm not sure what that means. There's a huge adult market. The average video game player is 28 years old. So video games or video toys are done by these adults in their 20s who spend billions of dollars on this stuff. So I don't know what people mean by toys. I think a lot of toys have always been purchased by adults who find them fascinating and interesting. And toys are little works of art, particularly modern toys. The sculpting, the concepts behind them, the manufacture. Well, these are very affordable collectibles that, if you do it right, can be worth a lot of money. And I've made a fair amount selling collectible toys in the past. But the Moose Company is very interesting, and to get back to that, I just looked up the financials on these things. But, Moose and Playmobil, the German company, are selling close to $1 billion per year in toy sales around the world. Well, this is pretty staggering, and these figures have skyrocketed in the last 5 to 10 years. So, toys are a big market, and people who make toys are doing extremely well at it, and their sales keep going up and up. Obviously, toys are being bought by adults for children, and it doesn't matter how young they are, but there's a huge adult collector market, which is out there spurring sales in every possible way. Now, one of these that Moose produced, and Moose, as I said, they kind of take old concepts and make them new. This is not a new concept. It's a cool concept, and I like it, but I had the original toys that these are kind of based on. Just like I had the original crossbows and catapult game that they made into Battleground. And they did a good job on it. They made a great box. Their actual sculpting on their Battleground castles and crossbows and everything else was very good. The problem with them is with so many people with those types of games is that the actual catapults and crossbows are very underpowered. And as such, it's hard to get any serious results. So the first thing I do is change those radically and use different types of things, right down to airsoft pistols to make the experience much more exciting. And there's been a new actual, which I will be reviewing here soon. What is that now? Called Catapult Kingdom, which is one of these Kickstarter things, which is using the crossbows and catapult. I'll get into that with once I do a review on that. This is something that's been out there for a year or two, and so forth. These are just been released in basically August of 2021. And these are basically a practical battle or physical. Like we've had video games like this all the time, and these one-on-one fight games, karate games, etc., that have been very popular in the video form. Let's get here and look at this a little more carefully. Here's the figures that you get with this. So These have just come out. There's not really, and I'm really appalled at the toy reviews out there done by children who you can't even understand, adults that try and be funny. I don't know who they're catering to, but certainly is not. I don't like watching them. They're all kind of silly, and you're not really selling to children anyway. The children don't go to the store and buy these things per se. The adults buy them. But I don't really need an opinion of saying, it's ridiculous. So, the problem with children is whether you find them adorable or not. They're really ignorant. They don't know anything. Just like kids learn quickly. Yeah, because there's nothing in their head. So you can fill up somebody's head with stuff when there's nothing in it. You get an adult and you try and learn something, you've got 1,000 things going in your mind every minute. So, the ignorancy of that. But these toy reviews and so forth are garbage for anybody that's doing anything past the imbecilic 3-year-old level. So, and I'm hoping to change that and to give you serious stuff. So let's look at the back of this, and we'll get into this. But this is a practical fighting game. Now, the video fighting games who at this point have escaped. I don't play video games anymore. I used to many years ago. But I don't really like them that much. They're addictive, they're repetitive, they kind of numb your brain out. I prefer more practical things where you have physical items very similar to this. But these kind of fight games where you have the different components fight each other has been a video topic and still is in one of the most popular games, some of the most popular games out there. All these one-on-one match fighting. You get one karate-type person or one martial art person against another. And, of course, this has taken that concept and put it in the physical. Now, this is a copy, people. Again, I'm old enough that I know the old games. Now, there was by Milton Bradley in the 90s. It was called Karate Fighters, and I had all these. And they were 6-inch figures, and you had two controls like this, and you'd put them together, and their legs would spin, their arms would spin, and you'd hit the other person trying to knock them, and they would open up or fall over, etc. And this concept goes back even to Rock'em Sock'em Robots, which Karate Fighters kind of mimicked. There are no new ideas, but what I've noticed a lot from Moose Toys in particular is that they take old concepts and kind of make them their own. Of course, that's what life is about. I'm not sure there's anything wrong with that. There are no original ideas. What you have to do is take something that everybody kind of likes and make it a little better or interesting. And that's kind of what they did here by making things smaller, which is kind of nice. The other controls were bigger and more cumbersome. These can be virtually carried with you if you want to. And have a variance. Excuse me, I'm not sure how much cheaper they are. They're really not. But you can still get karate. Excuse me. You can still get Karate Fighters online for good, reasonable prices. So these are great, fun things to have. So check those out on your used toys or collectible eBay type places. And you'll be able to see very similar. So these are pretty much identical. And this is where we're actually just showing you the product. I'll have an unboxing of this in my next video. But let's go over this quickly again. As I said, this is that type of game that everybody really loves, and particularly in the video spectrum. So you have these two figures here, and I'm going to, and they make many of these. What are they? Do they say on the back here how many they have? You can see the different figures there. They have all these characters, and there's slight variations. They also have, as you'll see here, some. Okay, there's 35 plus. Oh no, that's the effects here, but there's a whole bunch of figures you can get, and they're just coming out. Now, one of the problems I have with Moose and the toy industry is these are now difficult to get. The prices that they state, like this, is stated to be, I think, $25 or $30. These are selling for $50 and more because of the shortage. That sucks, Moose. Fix that. I wrote to them and told them this yesterday, and I will get back to you on that. That's nonsense. You shouldn't be paying a premium for this. And who is doing that? The adults are doing that. So these aren't being sold just to kids, and it may be a tiny part of all the toy market anyway. So I really hate that. You know, Mattel's been famous for that with Masters of the Universe and so many other things where it's difficult to get this. Hasbro, they all been doing this, and I don't understand because you make your money from selling product, but if you can't get product, what are they really doing there? Unless they have put together some conspiracy of collectors who they are paying to sell these things at double and triple the price. But you would have to run a huge organization to do that seriously. So I don't know what's going on with them, but Moose is falling into the same category. You can't get the stuff. It's all sold out on Amazon. All you can get is the very expensive kit here that is double the suggested retail price. That sucks, and that's going to hurt their business. So you probably won't even be able to get a lot of these figures, and you should go to Moose Toys out of Australia and write to them and ask them why you can't get their stuff that they have spent over a year now on YouTube and other places telling people that these are going to be coming out soon. So what kind of bad business? It's hard to believe that companies like this have sales of close to $1 billion. Unbelievable, but this seems to be the game that's going out there. So this is actually the battle arena. One thing here is that you also get, and I will show this in the unboxing video, they give you practice bag to work with, which is really nice. This has 35 different sound effects in it. I'm going to show you that in a minute here. But let's go and give you kind of a tour. And, of course, here's the scoring at top where your players play against each other, and you score until one player is permanently knocked out. And let's see what else is on here. Let's go on the back here. We can kind of get a better understanding of what's going on here. This has 35 sounds built into it, and it's kind of cool. I think it makes the experience much better. It would have been even better if I didn't have to pay double the manufacturer list price. But basically, you manually control your figures to hit each other. And then you basically, and it's hard to see on here, if you see at the bottom there, if you hit your opponent properly, they kind of split open in the center. Now, again, with Rock'em Sock'em robots, you would hit the person and their head would pop up. With karate fighters, there was a chest placed where you would hit the person and they would fall over. And so these are the types of things that... so the concept is not new. What's new is they have these cool characters. But, karate fighters had these cool characters too, and there probably is 30, 40 of these. Really cool game, and I don't know what happened there. I guess they were popular for a little while, but... video games has generally killed everything now, unfortunately. And of course, video games are fun for those who enjoy them. Nothing wrong with that, but it's nice to have some. Here's all the characters again. Take a look at these that you can get individually. And the prices are all over the board here. I mean, generally you can get a small set. Now, this is the Battle Arena, which is a special tool. But generally, these things run anywhere from $16 to $25 to get 2 characters, so forth. But, that is, again, this is outrageous prices because they can't meet their demand. Unbelievable. So, what are you in business for if you can't produce products? So, let's show you how these things work. Now, we're going to get in here and we'll show you the actual... now, when you move this, see how that works. Now, you can hear the actual, that's what the arena sounds make. And you can hear all that. But you see how the figures move. Now, we're going to do that here. The figures move and their weapons move, and you're trying to hit your opponent so you open it up. But this gives you all these sounds, which I think is really cool. Gives a, once you play with this for a while, having those sounds helps. So you move your 2 figures together like this, and you start hitting each other until one of them pops open, and that means you've won. And of course, each one has their own control, and I haven't opened that one up yet, but I will. This is open to try, and you can see how the figures work. Now, you don't have a lot of control. That's all the figures do, but in terms of their spinning. But if you'll notice here, this guy has nunchucks, or types of... I don't know if those are nunchucks. Not really, I guess. They're more like medieval weapons. But The point is that these each figure has a little different weapons. They have to move a little different. As you can see over here with this robot type figure, it has a mace and a shield. So that gives you a different fighting aspect. Now this figure doesn't have any shield. It can't really defend itself. It's only good for striking. So each figure does have a dimension in which makes it stronger or weaker, and you have to figure out how to fight a little better with it. So it's quite fascinating. It's well made. The figures are well made. This is good quality unit from what I can see, and we'll go into more of that when we unbox it. But that's the basic thing, and here you can get a good idea, and let's get in here, a good idea of how all this stuff looks like and works. From an intelligent adult reviewer here, which looks at things from a proper fashion. As I said, there's the scoring at top. But this is the advanced battle, the ultimate battle arena for the Akedo Ultimate Arcade Warriors. So they're kind of playing off of that. This kind of looks like a little arcade, a physical arcade game, because they're really copying, ironically, they're copying the digital characters and made them physical. It used to be the other way around, where you'd make the physical characters digital. So it's quite, and again, let's show you here. They do include a training bag where you can train. You don't have to fight against someone else. You can train it. You should train if you're serious at this. Here's how they battle together. And we'll go over all that, as I said, in the unboxing. We're just trying to give you an intro here to show you everything, which I like to do before we get into the physical, so everyone really knows what's going on. But here is a good illustration. Usually these back illustrations are excellent to let people know what's going on and to see the product itself. Because, you know, nothing is cheap. There's Moose. Toys, and they're all over the world. Apparently, all their factories are empty. I don't know if this has anything to do with the different shortages, which are happening everywhere. We have all sorts of shortages in all areas after this huge COVID problem, which will continue. We're just starting COVID problems. So I don't know if the factories are empty or they don't have enough supply or anything else, but some came through. But, you know, how you could be a manufacturer and not make it a product, I don't quite understand. So that's the concept behind it. I mean, it's exactly like, if you're an old toy collector, exactly like Karate Fighters, including characters and everything else, which in some cases are extremely close or even identical. The whole setup here is identical to Karate Fighters, the physical toy made in the 90s from Milton Bradley at that particular time. And of course, Rock'em Sock'em Robots has started all this, and then it became the variations. They even had a G.I. Joe set for some time that you can still see online, where they had two large G.I. Joe figures that you could control like this. It's a real cool concept, and making them smaller, which seems to be a trend right now, certainly is a good idea, because you can store stuff, carry it, go places with it, and everybody seems to have a premium for there seems to be a space premium that we all have, that we just don't have space to put stuff. And this is not overly big here. It's hard. You can see this is where the product starts, and this is where it stops. Up here, what is that? 6 inches, 8 inches at the most. So it's hard to tell with this giant box. There's stuff inside here, which is the accessories. And generally, this is a display box, because people are going to see this in a store, and then they're going to decide to buy it or not. So having bigger boxes, which is a trend through the toy industry. I mean, Playmobil puts their kits in giant boxes. So they have this great display right on the box. The problem is that you don't need that big box. It's weightful. And but that's the display ad, and that's the display itself, is the giant box. And this is similar. You've got a small toy in a giant box to kind of highlight it so you see what's going on. This explains what this particular toy is, while you don't get as much if it was just up to here. So that's all part of the marketing and everything else, which makes things very interesting. So I hope you enjoyed this. Stay tuned for the unboxing, which will be the next video.